Alright, hello everyone. It's been quite some time. I had several different events that has taken place that just could have knocked me off my feet, but it didn't. And it's by the grace of the Lord that I am here with a smile on my face, regardless of what I have been through. Um, the last time I had posted a video, no more than a couple of days later, I received well, actually, the Holy Spirit put something on my heart, and I ended up calling my mom and ended up finding out that um, she was actually in the hospital praying about how she's going to tell me what was going on with her at the time. And I'm like, I'm on the phone like, Mom, what is wrong? I would drop everything I'm doing right now and come down there because I'm 2.5 hours away from her at the time. And she said, well, I have breast cancer. And it has spread it to my liver. Whew, everything out of me, well, everything in me kept screaming out again. Because if anyone watched any one of my previous videos from, I think, 2019 or 2020, not sure about actually posting now that I think about it, but I lost my brother from a fatal car accident, a simple tire blowout that caused him to swerve and hit a tree and be ejected from his car. And so I kept thinking, not again. I don't want to lose another person that I love with all of my heart. And immediately she started quoting scriptures and reminding me that her body is nothing but a vessel, and that whatever happened is in the Lord's will, and that she was proud of me from how far I've came, and she didn't even want this to wear me down. And so everyone who knows me personally knows that no matter how negative I'm thinking within my mind, I am always speaking out positivity. I'm like, no, Mom, we're not worrying about this. You know what? If you want me to, I'll come down right now, and we're gonna get through this. You need me by your side. I'll be by your side. And she's like, no, get some rest. I'm gonna, tell the rest of the family. And she said, but I do want you to come down, but just not in the middle of the night like this. And so I prayed. We prayed together. I get off the phone. I was still in shock. And so I I didn't bother to allow my emotions to take over. I just chose to just say forget it, and I'm just going to deal with it with whichever way this comes. And so with that being said, I said my prayers again for the Lord to give me the strength. And then I went to bed that night. That morning, I woke up, I told my husband about what was going on. And he said, I already know, go. And I said, thank you. And took the car, went down, went to go see her. She has so much strength. Oh my God, even down to the last few days, she has so much strength. And she just, I'm fine, I'm not worrying about it, I'll be okay. Like, and remember, my body is not but a vessel, you rejoice if I go, and I'm like, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, Lord, I have been praying for a long time because we knew that something was going on with Mom, but we just didn't know what it was. And she knew as well as some of the stories that she had, or some of the passages that she had written in her journals. She knew something was going on, but she didn't know what. And so we're sitting there, we're just having fun with her, talking with her, She had decided that she would come and move in with me. She wanted to spend more time with grandma and her siblings before she left. And so I went home. And I was home for about 3 to 4 hours where cause my sister stayed with her at my grandmother's house. And my sister and my mom called and said, well, the doctor said that whatever the blood work was that we had done, when you guys took me to the doctor's office, uh, the difference between the hospital blood work and that blood work, they don't want me to be an outpatient. They want me to come directly into the hospital. And so again, Mom, I'm on my way. My bag was already still packed for what if. And so I hopped in my car and I left. I spent 2.5 weeks in the hospital with my mom. That entire time being with her, we had so much to talk about. And the main thing that I never knew I needed to hear from my mother's mouth was how proud she was of me. It gave me so much strength to sit there and watch her suffer. And although she didn't cry, I can tell the pain that she was in was almost unbearable. Most people don't have that time to sit alongside their loved ones and just open their heart up just to speak and ask and receive. And so I'm ever so grateful for the Lord aligning everything up for such a time as this. I kept thinking that if I didn't listen to the Lord's call and went out to work again, one, I would never have the time to spend with her. As I sat there in the hospital with her and continuing to do my devotionals, regardless of what the outcome was going to be, she kept saying, don't stop doing what you're doing, because I don't know how you're so positive all the time. I kept saying, Mom, my brain sometimes gets very negative. I just don't let it come out my mouth. And she's like, please don't stop what you're doing, because, you know, when she was in ministry and teaching class in ministry, she said it brought her so much comfort no matter what she was facing. It gave her the accountability within herself to show up in her best self for other people. And memories just started trickling all in. And when she used to drive the church van and, you know, us being kids taking advantage of, you know, Mom being in the front seat, we can say what we want to say and do what we want to do in the back of the van and things of that sort. You know, saying little things that we should not say on a church van. Planning to do things when we are at home on the church van. But anyway, it just reminded me that we do what is modeled in front of us. Not so much of what is said to us. Because the things that she said, eventually we started doing them. But it was the things that she modeled in front of us that helped us to become who God wanted us to be. And what He has designed us to do. And so all I can say is that I'm ever so grateful. I'm ever so grateful to be alive. I'm ever so grateful for all the long suffering that I went through. I kept wondering, Lord, am I there yet? Have I grown? Am I strong enough yet? Am I walking in my purpose? One, I realized that I doubt myself a lot. And two, I realized because I doubted myself so much, I never really seen my growth in all this whole process. Even before we found out about, mom's issue. I remember asking her in the hospital, Mom, what do you want to do when you go home? And she said, baby, I want to come with you. She said, I know I'm dying. And she said, I want to die with my children. She said, you guys are everything to me. And I said, okay, Mom, whatever you want. I said, I'm going to talk it over and inform my children and my husband. And I said, I already know they up for it, but I just want to inform them. I said, but whatever you want, you will get it. And she said, okay. She said, all I want to do is spend time with Mom. And she said, I want to tell my mom. And then she said, I'll be ready. And we all knew that this would mean in transportation she might not even survive. But even in all that pain, she was willing. She was willing to keep fighting no matter what. And so she gets home with Grandma, and she speaks with Grandma. She realized that she is actually declining fast, as it's the same way they projected. And so she calls me and say, baby, it's time for me to go now because I don't want to leave here. I don't want to leave this earth in my mom's home and have my mom have to witness her daughter laying in the bed. And I said, okay, Mom, I'm on my way. I get down there. And she didn't want to tell me that she was weak, but you could tell that she was so weak. And she was like, okay, tomorrow. And my sister was there with her the whole time, too. And she was like, okay, tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And she's like, go ahead, get all my stuff, take it up there, but I'm coming tomorrow. Just come back down here for me. So I'm like, okay. And so I get home, and I'm up here praying and praying and praying and praying. And then she started messaging me and saying, I got to go, Letitia. I got to go. I feel really bad. I got to go. I don't want anyone to worry about me and the way that everything is going down here right now and the way I'm feeling. I have to go because I don't want my mom to witness this. And I said, okay. So the next day I come down and pick her up and bring her here. And this is a 2-hour ride. And she's in excruciating pain. And she's singing praises to the Lord the whole time. And my brother and I in the car, and we're trying to figure out where she's getting this energy from. and of course she's trying to eat, but of course her liver was so bad. It wasn't if, it was when. And so that's the point where she just stopped eating. She just couldn't do it anymore. And so after that, we got her here at the house. And she was smiling from ear to ear with her grandbabies. My son instantly runs to her and say, Grandma, you gonna play with me? You gonna play with me? You gonna play with me? And my mom always trying to maintain, so she's like, yes, let me get some rest, baby. When I get some rest, I'm gonna play with you and play with you. You're my only grandson. I'm gonna play with you. I got you. Grandma tired from a ride. And look at her in her eyes, and her eyes were so yellow. And I can tell that her body was so weak. I remember laying her down in bed. And she kept saying with TP, I don't know. And that's when I just gave in to I just gave in to the reality. And I said, Mom, if you want to fight, fight. If you're tired of fighting, it's okay. Your legacy will always live on within us. And you fought so hard and so gracefully. And I'm ever so grateful to have you as my mother. The relief that came from her was that she needed to hear that. She need she needed to know that it was okay. And she just didn't want to stay. And if it was okay, if she couldn't stay. I remember the first night she kept saying, I got this, I can do this. I said, Mom, I don't want you going to the bathroom on your own. I'm going to take you myself. And I went upstairs to lay down, go to bed, and I set a booby trap. You know, parents, they teach us how to set booby traps. My mom used to set a booby trap. So when she sleep at night, if we get up, something falls. It's something real light. It could be a piece of paper or something real light. So I set a booby trap. And the next morning I woke up and realized that she went to the bathroom on her own. And I said, Mom, I don't want you to go to the bathroom on your own because I don't think, you know, that it's safe for you since you're a fall risk. And you know, she gave me a look. So I'm like, I know you grown, Mom. I know you my mom, but you know, right now I want to make sure that you know you're as safe as possible. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, Mom, why didn't you call me? You could have called me. And she was like, I couldn't pick up my phone. Then I realized that she was actually declining even faster because she couldn't pick up the weight of her phone. And so from that night on, I slept beside her. And I don't understand how she could keep smiling and laughing and talking about the most beautiful stories in our childhood that gave her so much joy when she was in so much pain. It was only 2 days before she passed away when she looked at me and said, the pain is unbearable and I'm gonna need something. And I said, okay, Mom. And I didn't have anything to be able to give her, so we called the ambulance to come get her. And when the ambulance got here, she said, I don't want nobody to give me any more needles. And the man said, well, ma'am, we have to check your blood sugar and make sure that you're okay. And she said, I don't want no more needles. And he said, okay. He said, so, can you tell me your name? So she told her name. And then he said, and where were you born? And when she said 1938, and that she was 39 years old, I knew that the confusion was coming in because of the lack of her eating, and it had been her blood sugar. It's severely low. And so he asked her again, can I check your sugar? And he did so. And come to find out, her sugar levels was at 29. And so they asked her, can we please give you an IV? And she looked at me and Elijah, and I looked at her like, please, Mom, please. And she did. She allowed them to do the IV. But when she gets into the back of the ambulance, she says, I don't want no food bag. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want that. So I said, okay. I'm like, well, and the young man came out and asked me if that was, what we had discussed prior, and we did when we were discussing the 5 wishes. Because prior, when she was at MedStar Washington Hospital Center for those 2.5 weeks, every 4 hours they were sticking her. And my mother didn't never like needles at all, so I know that she was keeping her composure because I was there. But it took a lot from her, and it drained her a lot, and she was just done with it. And so we get to the hospital up here in Salisbury. It's a beautiful atmosphere as well. I had to add that in because it was very beautiful. And they came in after doing her blood work and told us the honest to God truth. And so, since Mom wanted to die here at the home with us, they wanted to make sure that she can be able to withstand the transportation from the hospital, the 30-minute ride to my home. And so they took her to the hospice to get her on a medication schedule so she can have enough strength to be at home. And when she got there, because she had refused to eat and she just couldn't eat anymore, she just instantly shut down. Her last words to me was, I love you. And I thank you for always being there for me. Every time I called on you, you were always there. Thank you. And I knew that was her way of saying, I can't fight this no more, and I know what's happening. And so I knew that Psalms 91 was her favorite passage in the Bible. And so for those 2 days, I would read Psalms 91 over and over and over and over again, as well as anoint her, as well as hug and kiss her. And the day I first started my ministry, which I wasn't going to do it at first, I kept telling Mom, oh, this is going on, I'm not doing this ministry, and she made me promise her that I would still do it no matter what happens to her. And so the night that I went to go teach my first day for the ministry, the next morning she passed away. And I think I was still in a lot of shock. And a little bit, I guess now, a little bit now still too. Because sometimes I wake up and I think about calling her, or you're getting ready to send her a message and I have to think about like, okay, I can't send her a message. So, yeah, shock. And then after that, it wasn't so much of the shock. I had to kick into overdrive to make sure that, her services were taken care of because she had no life insurance. And we are one income family, 1-person income. And by the grace of the Lord, my grandmother was able to pay half, and we were able to pay the other half. it started to remind me that time is something that is so precious to us. And it's the only thing that we all have. And sometimes we don't make the best of the time that we have here on earth. One thing I can say is that I'm thankful for giving her her flowers while she was here. Because I have no regrets. And even though I will be always grieving her for the rest of my life, I am ever so thankful for all the preparation that the Lord has put me through to have the strength to withstand this heck of a storm. Not once did I feel like I was drowning. I searched my body frequently for the pain and couldn't find it. And he kept showing me that there's no pain. There's no pain. She set forth to do a job, and she did what her job was to do. There was not one question that was left unanswered. There was not one thing that was left unsaid. Sometimes we have to realize that we have a way of letting life really drag us around. Forget about where we came from. Feel as though that we make us feel as though we run a race, where as though we're forever losing. I say that because beforehand, the beginning of my journey, that's how I felt. I never would have thought in a million years that he prepared me for this. Or the backlash that came after it. One thing I can say though is that time means everything. Love is everything. If you can't respect them both, then success means nothing. My mother has had a rough life. Some things has been because of others. Some things has been because of her own decisions. But one thing I can say is that she's always smiled through the entire process. I mean, what else is there for her to do on earth. God has called her home. She is pain-free. And now it's time to finish building her legacy. I remember hearing a sermon one time and they were talking about, some people will start and the others will come behind and finish. Some people will be able to see the ending result. Some people won't make it to see the ending result. I know that's a season that I'm in right now. As I continue to walk forward in this journey, off and on I will be coming to you guys and pouring out my heart. Sharing my love, my mother's wisdom, and most likely some of her sayings. She had a lot to say in all her little books that she wrote things down in for us because she knew something was going on with her. Well, I guess that's all I had to say for right now. Until next time, you guys. I love you guys. Never, ever, ever give up hope. Always keep your faith. And just because your season doesn't look like the way you want it to, just be mindful that the Lord knows all and He is preparing you for whatever there is to come. Not saying that it's going to be something negative coming or something painful coming or something good coming. It doesn't mean that we know exactly what is coming, but everything has a reason and a purpose that it is done or allowed. So accept life for whichever way it comes to you. There was a saying, and if I'm not mistaken, it was by Winston Churchill, and it said that oh my gosh, what was it? We make a living by what we get, and we make a life by what we give. What are you giving? I love you all. Until next time. Bye.